Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beckler Guitars and Repairs, and today we're going to be looking at... Okay, today we're checking out a Rickenbacker. So this is a 1999 Rickenbacker 325C64. So this is actually a recreation of the Rickenbacker that was made for John Lennon in 1964. It's the one he first used on the Ed Sullivan Show and continued using it throughout his career as one of his main guitars. So, yeah, and this thing, I had a brief time to check it out when I picked it up. It's in really good shape. No major scuffs, marks, or dings. And just a beautiful guitar. So yeah, this is actually a hollow body guitar in Jetglo finish is what they call their black. It's got the 3 pickups. And the fretboard on Rickenbackers is lacquered, so it's actually got a finished gloss fretboard. We've got tone and volume controls with a blend for the middle pickup, the pickup selector, and this vintage accurate trem system. And what's cool with these guitars is they're actually very small. This is a 21-inch scale length, so it's a lot closer to like a 3/4 size guitar. And the neck is very thin, but quite chunky, so it's kind of a unique neck profile. And these are made in the USA by Rickenbacker, kind of a rare guitar. And in the case here we've got a strap. It looks like a bridge cover and just an extra set of strings. So today we're going to be taking it apart, looking at all the individual parts, and taking some measurements and specs, and then trying it out. Okay, we've got the Rickenbacker on the bench, so first off, let's just take some specs on this guitar. So let's check the weight. So it looks like we're at 6 pounds, 8 ounces. So the serial number on Rickenbackers is actually on the jack plate at the bottom. So this one says 99-28834, so that makes it a 1999. And let's just quickly check the neck width. Alright, so first fret, neck width is 1.636. And then on the 12th, we're looking at... Well, where's the 12th fret? It's not marked any different. 7, 8, 9. This is the 12th here. 1.917. .90 and 0.922. So yeah, it's a relatively chunky neck, and it stays pretty consistent all the way down the neck. So looks like, make sure everything's up. So yeah, it looks like on the back pickup we're reading a 10.7. On the middle pickup, a 4.11, and a 6.19 on the neck. Now we're just going to check the neck profile, which does seem pretty chunky. Let's quickly check that. Alright, so here's the neck profile. You can tell it's quite a thin little neck, and then it just rounds out a little bit more by the 12th, but definitely a very narrow neck and kind of chunky. Okay, now we're going to take the strings off and have a look at these pickups, have a look at the cavity, check out the trem, and check out the truss rod. It looks like to remove the strings you have to remove this trem. This is not something I've seen on a Rickie before. I don't have that much experience with the Rickenbackers, to be honest. So I'm just gonna put a cloth underneath so I don't scratch anything while I'm sliding this out, because this is an expensive guitar and I don't want any marks or dings if I can help it. So there it goes. And I'll just take that whole thing off. Looks like one little string is stuck there, but that's okay. Okay, so we've got the strings off. Just want to make sure I remember how that went on. Okay, so like this. And then that slides on the underneath part. So it looks like there is a little pad there to save the finish when you're sliding that. And it looks like the bridge, here, I'll get a better look at this here. So it looks like the bridge is just held down by the tension of the strings. And then you can adjust the height with these 4 screws here. So that's kind of neat. And that slides on like so. So yeah, okay, they have the pads on there so you know how to line them back up when you put them back on. So just like that is how it goes on. Okay, so let's put that aside for now. And it looks like you can take off the trem as well. That might have been easier. So that just unscrews. And then you can put the whole thing together. Like so. After you get the strings in there, you put the trim on, and then you can put it right onto the body with this screw. So it looks like there's just a minimal, tiny little rub wear from where the trim hits the body, just very slight. And it looks like the intonation adjusting screws face the trim. Okay. So now we're going to take out the pickups and just have a look at what they look like. Okay, so I have removed the pickup cover so we can have a look here, or the pickup screws. So the back pickup, and I just found they all look the same. So they're this is a Rickenbacker pickup, a single coil. So it looks like there is some marking on there. It says on the plastic underneath the metal, it says VP31. And those are just mounted by 2 screws and 2 little bushings there. And they all appear to be the same. So this one also says VP31. And it looks very similar. And there's the routes, just a small little route for the single coil there. And it looks like the heights are just adjusted by those 2 screws. And this one Looks like it also says VP31, and it looks like, yeah, they all seem to be very similar pickups. Okay, now we're going to take off the pick guard, have a look underneath. Alright, so this is the look at the electronics. See if I can get a better look there. So it all appears original. Nothing looks like it's been tampered with at all. There's your output jack, and looks like these pots are dated to 1999, or that one is anyway. And looks like a very similar to a Gibson switch. And there in the cavity is the serial number 9928834. So everything looks as it should there. Now let's just tuck everything back in carefully, and we can put the screws back in. So let's have a look at the frets here. Let's have a quick look. So it looks like they're in quite nice condition. The only little bit of wear I see is on the cowboy cord area, and just a slight bit of pitting that you can just slightly feel with your finger. I wouldn't say that this is bad enough that it needs work yet. If it was a little bit worse, I'd probably do a level crown and polish, but I don't think it's at that point yet. And the lacquered fingerboard feels really nice. There's a little bit of grunge on there that we're going to clean up. Actually, let's do that right now. So I'm going to use Dunlop 65 because it's a finished fretboard. So it's the same stuff I use on finish. Just give it a quick clean. It looks like it's barely dirty. So yeah, you can see a little grime coming off, but not a lot. It has that black nut. It looks like it's plastic or nylon. The original ones had that as well. And I just want to have a look at the truss rod as well. Okay, so there's a look at the truss rod, and the neck looks nice and straight. It had low action with not a lot of relief, which is how you like it, and there's not a lot of threads showing on the truss, so it looks like it's easily adjustable, and everything looks good there. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put the strings back on and check the setup to make sure it's playing nice. I'm going to put the strings back onto the plate. So this might be a little bit tricky to get all the components on and mounted at the same time. The way that I'm envisioning of doing it, so there's probably a better way to do this. If you know it, please comment down below. But I think this will work all right. It's just a little bit trickier to do. So I want to get all the strings in their slots with a little bit of tension to keep them in, just like so. Okay, now I want to slide on this piece that will keep the strings where they need to be, and then I want to slide on this piece to keep the string ball ends where they go, right? And then I'm gonna make sure that that's where it needs to be, and then I'm just gonna attach the tail piece back onto the body. Which should be simple enough. Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay, so that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Actually, a pretty easy way to put the strings back on. Okay, everything's strung up and put back together, and now we're just going to check the setup. So the setup on the first 3 frets, as you can see, if I finger the 3rd here, the top string, the low E is barely touching the 1st fret, so that's just about where you want it. Alright, we're just going to check the setup of the 12th. So at the 12th fret, we're at just about 1.5 on the low E, and between 1 and 1.5 on the high E, so nice and low setup there. And now I'm just going to check the frets to see if there's any buzz anywhere. Alright, so no buzzing anywhere, plays great with a nice low action, and it's perfectly intonated. Alright, so we're just going to look through the final polish here. I'll try to capture as much of that as I can. So if you really hold it into the light, you can see a couple very slight scuff marks. Maybe a couple small little dimples in the finish, but overall, for a black guitar, not a lot to write home about. No major scratches or dings, just maybe a few slight impressions can be seen if you hold it really close and into the light. But overall, very nice shape. And we're going to go ahead and plug it in and see how it sounds. Through the Diamond Del Fuego tube amplifier. We're on the non-tremolo channel. We're going through an attenuator. That's the Bugera PS1 Power Soak. And I'm using Holy Grail Reverb and the Toro Servo Boost pedal. Let's go through a couple tones here. I'm on the bridge pickup. Try some finger picking. That nice chimey Rickenbacker tone. Now I'm gonna just turn up the gain just a little bit, just to hear what it sounds like with a little bit more distortion. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it's pretty cool, great sounding guitar. Okay, so now that we know all about this guitar, just what are my last thoughts on it? Well, it's a really cool little guitar. The short scale length makes it very comfortable to hold. I really like the neck profile. It's nice and thick, but also nice and thin. So very easy to play, especially if we had smaller hands. The tones that were coming out of this thing were great. Really reminiscent of that 60s British Invasion tone. You could really channel John Lennon through this guitar, it seems like. I really like the trem system. I really like the bridge, and the pickups sound great. The lacquered fretboard feels really good. And yeah, just worthy of the hype, I would say. Comes in this really nice plush case that fits the guitar well, and also has the bridge cover if you prefer that aesthetic, and just some strings and a strap in the trap case here. Just going to close the guitar. You can see the top as well. And the Rickenbacker. Alright, so that'll be it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and we'll see you next time.